we're going to continue our work on the art assets for Crystals of Mabar. Give me a moment here to check my signal, make sure that I am coming through clear. Check my signal, make sure that I am coming. Fantastic. All right, hey, if you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter, so if you want to find out if I'm live in the future, you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney. I'm going to press some buttons here on the Discords and get myself up and running. If this is the first time visiting the channel, I really appreciate it. Thanks for visiting. It's my name's Phil. I build PDFs to add mechanics and character options for Dungeons and Dragons. I publish on the DMsGuild. You can check the link down below to see a slew of books that I've already produced. You can read them cover to cover. You can run a campaign level 1 to 20 to see if the stuff that I build is something that you enjoy, and if it is, consider purchasing. The bundle down below is 5-color mana spell point variant rules, which is an MTG mechanic for the Magic the Gathering card game. Oh shit, I wasn't supposed to post there. Let me delete that. Delete the elite. I want to respect the rules of the land. And hold on. Yeah, so I build books, I publish them. You can read them all cover to cover. If you like them, buy them. This is the spell point variant rules I'm talking about. Is Magic the Gathering has a 5-color mana system: white, blue, black, red, green. I'm gonna fix this real quick. Hey, like and subscribe. Happy to have you here. Chugga. Let's see. Where am I at on my map? There. Okay, great. So this is the book cover that we created back like around episode 45 or so, I think. And here is the cemetery map we're working on. It's 52 inches by 58 inches. It is massive. If you aren't familiar, we oops, wait. Let me get rid of the dibbly bits. Dibbly bits be gone. Where am I? Where did this come from? Hold on. Hold on, I'm lost. I got lost. Black and white, color, walls. Walls are back. I know these things are around here somewhere. Okay, I'll just have to go through layer by layer. Oh wait, there must be... There we go, the roof. That's right, I put the roof above the black and white because the roof is something that are separate pieces that you lift up off of the map. Like if, okay, so now that I know where we are, we can safely go back to what I was trying to talk about. So, hiding the roof. This is, again, we got 1-inch grid maps on a VTT at 70 pixels. These aren't perfectly aligned, but you get the gist that we have 10 inches by 14 inches that fits on an 11 by 16, an 11 by 17 legal sheet of paper. That's the largest piece of paper that you can feed through a home printer without having some sort of special industry machinery. So that means that you have a 1/2-inch border on your 10-inch grid. It's 11 inches wide paper, so you have a 1/2-inch margin. And 14 inches long, 1/2-inch margin each means technically there's 2 inches left over. So each one of these pages easily prints on an 11 by 17 page, which you can print, trim, and then place on your table. It's 20 pages that breaks up. There's like 4 maps almost this size. Like one of the smaller ones is like 2 by 6, I think. Sorry, 2 by 3. But like the Flooded Fort, I think is like 4 by 5. This one's 4 by 5. The Flooded Fort, I think, is 4 by 3. We'll have to go back and check it. But anyway, so that's how the black and white lays out. But obviously, if you're going to do VTT, you have to have color. So the color we have here as well, and again, the roofs are you can lift those off and just get them out of the way. So we build those as separate assets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 by 10, 8 by 12. So this roof can sit as a token on its own on one of those 11 by 17s, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you got these roofs as well, and then there's like skeleton tokens, ghoul tokens, specter tokens, bone knight tokens, poisonous moss tokens, man-eater tokens, and mercenary tokens. That and there's NPCs too, victim NPCs that are running around like hostages and stuff, escaped prisoners. That's what it is. So there's like maybe 10 different creature tokens that we'll build for this to sit on here as well, and each of those. So as we go through this crafting process, we will create all those, just like we're going to create the interior art for the piece. But yeah, we build these. We build adventures and character supplements. So we do all the text. This is going to be coming out of edits probably next month for us to continue with. So we'll have the final text version that we'll then lay into our layout program and build out the book. And then we'll drop pieces of the map onto each page for where it's corresponding with the numbers on the map symbol. And then all the interior artwork. And then we publish it on DMsGuild, and you'll be able to see the whole thing 100% cover to cover for you to see the whole adventure. But of course, obviously, if you want the tokens and the assets and stuff like that, then you buy it. So there you go. So I've been threatening to do this. I think I'm going to follow through on it now. We're going to continue the crystals. We're going to put crystals on the gazebos and inside of the crypt. So the crystals in the adventure, for those that haven't had the opportunity to playtest this yet, or been on the, or I've read the document, which you probably haven't because I haven't really been sharing it. The manifest zone, the world, the plane of Mabar, it destroys the soil, it terraforms the environment where the manifest zone creates. And so these crystals, these pockets are little crystals that are growing everywhere, and they can be harvested, and then if you mix them with a little bit of blood and then turn it into a pulp and dry it out, it turns into like a ferric powder that can be turned into ink that you can use as an arcane focus when you create scrolls, when you create rituals, like if you're scrawling out ritual circles on the ground, for darkness and necromancy spells. So basically it frees up the material components cost if you create this substance, because this substance itself is expensive, so it has a material component cost that you could like replace a gem or an onyx stone or any particular proper, any specific material component you need. You can use this crystal chalk instead. So you just have to gather the crystals and then work them through the alchemist's process, and they have captured chemists, alchemists that they can that these guys are using to convert all of the substances that you can harvest from the manifest zone into either different types of poisons or these arcane focus effects or different type of components. So the place itself has, controlling the manifest zone has considerable economic value, which is the theme of which is basically the theme of the adventure, is controlling the manifest zone is what the characters pretty much stumble into during this process. So I am going to, here we go. So far so good. So what? Let's just keep at this. So we're going to do crystal stuff today. So the brush that we use is this fractal brush that I built. When you press on it, it looks like that. Which isn't an appropriate shape per se, but when you're looking at, like, this is probably the level of resolution you're most likely going to be operating in. So it looks it's decent texture at this size. I mean, you can zoom in to a ridiculous level and start seeing how it pixelates and how it patternizes. But at this range, it's not bad. And this is There, literally 100%. Right there. It's a 100 DPI map that we're working on, so the resolution will actually be a little bit lower, but at this scale, I mean, this is a 5-foot square. This is probably closer than most people are going to want to zoom in on a VTT. Most likely people are going to be like at probably around here. So resolution is good. We got the black ink. We got, I typically want to be around a 20, 30, or 40 in pixel size. Hey, Renetico. Yeah, it's coming along really nicely. It's, God, this thing's such a monster. It'll be worth it though. We want to use a large brush, like around 70, 80, 90, to tap at these things to erode it a little bit. And then we can use a smaller, see, it adds additional grit there. So when we add in new crystals like that, it starts to texture over itself. This brush is such a good shape to work in this material too. Really got lucky with building, with realizing that shape is good. All this stuff just folds together so nicely. Oops, wrong button. I have no idea what we're talking about today. I just wanted to take a break from swirling water to Oh, hey, I gotta set a timer. Thank you. We got an hour and a half. We should probably be able to resolve all these crystals and probably get back into the water. But we got a 20-minute timer set. Got about 80 minutes of production this morning. Yeah, that Spelljammer book, that thing's coming off of edits probably by Monday. So my Monday night might be us starting the first steps towards page production. Boy, that's spooky. That is super stage fright nervousy for me. I always get nervous like that. I'm looking, I mean, the assets aren't, the general assets aren't done yet, but the next step in the project is layout. So that will be the next fun thing. I mean, I still have to finish the ship tokens, and I still have to finish the creature tokens, and I still have one asteroid map to finish, and then beyond that, I still have a lot of illustration assets, like diagrams and like movement mechanics stuff, like with pictures of ships and arrows and stuff. So I guess I kind of need to finish the ship tokens that I'm working on so that I can have all the assets I need to construct these different movement diagrams for the Spelljammer combat and exploration mechanics. So I guess everything is parsing out properly, but I can still at least start exploring page layout and like how the stuff is going to sit, and I can spend probably 2 sessions or more on page dressing and just figuring out how that stuff works. and we'll see how fun it is to do that process here on stream. And we'll see how well I can actually do page layouts while talking about text on the page. That may be, I might, that like brain dump and like director's cut stuff, we might have to wait until the page layouts are done and I start looking at illustrations and diagrams and stuff, so that I can empty space my brain. And I don't know how empty I can make my brain when I'm doing page layouts. So that may mean that I just do like a session. It's like, hey, here's how page layouts work, but it's boring as fuck, so see you later. You know, and then just stick to the illustrations. But I'll do at least one session here with doing page layouts, just so you guys can see how the sausage gets made. So I've been running an Eberron space opera campaign for the past, well, it's been around for 10, when was the first time? Jesus Christ. The first time I did Eberron Spelljammer, I think, was back in 2017-ish. It was play by post. So it's been a while since I've had the mixed genre between Spelljammer and Eberron, but I only had maybe 3 campaigns in 5e. One of them was 3e. No, one of them was a Cypher campaign. One of them was Space Pirates. The other one was the Demon Wastes. There was the Warforged Redemption campaign. It's like 3, and then the current time travel campaign that I have is technically in Eberron, but it's not a space opera. It's not yet. Players, my players, I don't think my players actually watch my stream, but they want Spelljammer. Oh, they're gonna get Spelljammer. They just haven't found it yet. Their characters have started messing around with time magic. And using the Ryan Langer at Realm Warp Studios, he recruited my first writing gig on the DMsGuild, and technically my first cartography gig on the DMsGuild was for Adventures in Chronomancy, which is there's paths of time. If you want to time travel, you have to open up a tunnel that will lead you from one time to another, and it's kind of a dungeon space, kind of like the asteroid maps that I have, where you're moving through these corridors of time to find different time spaces that your character can then drop back into reality from. Like in our campaign, we call it the in between. And while you're it's kind of like astral space, where it's like there's no time. But so like phase spiders is like a significant threat in the corridors, because they can use their, if they stick around too long, their webbing starts to take on time properties, and they begin warping time space around them. And so that's one of the major themes of the campaign, is traversing the corridors to try to move from. They've been using it as a poor man teleporter, where there's different doors that teleportation doors that they can hack the code, and if they hack the code of by using like arcane checks, or the arcane trickster we have in the party can use thieves tools with intelligence to modify a spell or a sigil that they encounter. So when they come across a teleportation door, they can hack the teleportation code. So when they open the door, it opens in between. And they can create time-space anchors out of nothing. They have a dream druid in the party, and one of the special benefits that the druid gets in this campaign is she can create. And now the ranger. At first it was only the druid, but now the ranger and the rogue have the skills that they need also to construct an anchor, a time space anchor, where wherever they like, it's a Groundhog Day campaign. So wherever they fall asleep, whenever the day ends or they die, they wake up at the beginning of the day. And the mechanics of the campaign is if one person dies, everybody dies. So, like, if one person dies, the entire team resets. That way, everybody's always playing. That was one of the rules that we established for the time travel campaign. So it's kind of, I guess there's a Dark Souls RPG that kind of works the same way. That you have you have a preset saving point where you naturally wake up at the beginning of the day, a la Groundhog's Day. And in the party's instance, they were first level. They wake up in a bar, hungover. So every day they wake up at a bar. it's so tropey, but yeah, that's the setup. But now that they can create their own time-space anchors, wherever they create one of these anchors, that's where they wake up at instead. So they can like once per day, they only have 24 hours to traverse a map. And they asked me, since they're all brand new players, this is their first campaign is a level 1 to 20 campaign that I built for them. So I kind of spoiled them. But they're like, "Hey Phil, we want to do D&D." I'm like, "How committed are you?" let me assess your conviction as a nerd to play D&D with me it's been a lunchtime adventure. So we played 90 minutes once a week, and we're now 4 years into the campaign at level 17. And they can all build time-space anchors. They all have, they're 17th level characters. They're damn near unstoppable. They just haven't figured it out yet because it's their first campaign, and I'm bullying them into submission so that they don't overwhelm me. But as soon as they figure that out, oh boy, they're gonna make this world their own. But they asked me specifically to build their characters for them, so that's adorable. Hold on real quick. I have to... I did a goof. There we go. I have a faded color, but I don't have that color faded on this map, so I need to... By God, I'm good. All right, I'm good. I'm really, really good at this. I'm really good at my job. I got distracted there for a second by mechanics. So, I've forgotten what opacity I was using to make the crystals not so black. If the crystals are truly black on the map, they start to overwhelm it. So I have to do this faded. Effect. So I come through here and I erase some of this stuff. I just grid up the entire area. But sorry, back into the mechanic. Doing some, painty stuff here real quick and stop rambling for a hot second. I'll get back to rambling, I swear. Yeah, it's a fun campaign. But they all want Spelljammer after this, or at least the rogue does. The other two are like, I don't know, whatever. They're like, I don't care. So we'll talk about it. But they'll be getting a taste of Spelljammer when they find a tunnel that leads to the future. But in my stock Eberron campaign, my normal homebrew, which this campaign is a part of, it's just on a a tangent. It's in a tangent world. So, spoiler alerts. They're all tangent worlds. The team is trying to find which one is real. Like, which one do they actually belong to? Because every time they set an anchor point, they scuttle which reality they're in. They're not sure anymore. So events, so they can learn the sequences of an event until they set a new time anchor, and then they stop, and then the rules that they learned about the timing of people changes. Even like buildings change. Whenever you set an anchor point, you can choose where it is that you're going to start the day, but you can't guarantee what is going to happen in the world from this new position that they start in. And they haven't figured that out yet. So every day, every time they reset, and I'm like, where do they reset to? So we look at which hex it is that their anchor point is in, and then I just go through and look at what is significant, what does not change encounter wise for that area when they save at that point, and then anything else I can just improvise. Because every time they wake up at a non-set anchor point, they're falling into a new reality. So the way that the DM can cheat, having to remember everything that happens all the time, and to reinforce a weird mystery into the game system is, wait a second, that's different from last time. And the more often, like as soon as they learn how to set an anchor point, you can forget about everything. Like you don't have to follow any rules anymore about like what's supposed to happen next. So you can control a space that's like at low levels. It's very simple because they can't get very far, and they're in a small village where there's not a lot of people. So you get to control how much interaction and PC stuff there is, and it's easy to keep in to keep in control of that shit. And by the time they're a high enough level to like conjure animals to be able to fly farther, they're a high enough level to set anchor points, so that when they're flying, the only reason they're moving to another location is because they want to set an anchor point so they can start a new day and keep pushing through the environment. And so every time they do that, you can reset all the rules of what's important. So the things literally get more and more strange to them the further they go away from their original anchor point, and all the goals that they have to achieve are within a 24-hour are within walking distance, like within 20 miles of walking. So they can leave and go out into the bigger world. We can hex crawl and fuck around and avoid the problems that they're supposed to be fixing. But if they actually want to fix anything, they have to go back to the core map. So the only thing that they're really, like, they can go anywhere they want in the world, but like, well, you know, we could wander off in that direction and see that city or whatever, but we really aren't achieving any goals right now. And they know that most of there's a large time travel conspiracy where all the leader, like all the nobility in the world have ties to this time ancestry, where when the world is starting to end and the demon, all the spirits in the world wake up, there's these soul riders, like this dream entity hides inside people's psyche, and the beginning of this campaign is all of those creatures woke up, and the creatures get recruited to help flush them out of the system, like to get them out of the world, to purge them from the world. And so some of these creatures are time savvy, so they know when a day restarts. Like they're in a groundhog loop too, some of them. Major antagonists are inside of a time loop, just like the players are. So if they run across a mini boss and they defeat the mini boss, when they think they figure out how this guy works, and they're like, oh, we can keep trying this dragon fight over and over again because we're time savvy, and if we die, we can just try something different when we go back in. But some of the things that they fight are also time savvy, so every time the players kill them, they become more powerful. So I can increase the CR of a creature over time by having them become more and more familiar with how the characters, what the characters' abilities are. The more they kill that dragon, the more that dragon is capable of resisting their effects, or knowing, or like having new abilities that can like be used as a reaction against what the players are doing. So they can be familiar with an enemy, but every time they fight it, it's a harder, it's a more difficult challenge mode. So What was I talking about? This campaign is different from my normal space opera campaign. My normal, like, quote unquote, normal Eberron campaign is that the world was co-terminating with the realm of nightmares, and not Mabar, Dalcor, the true plane of like madness and destruction. And so that world, that universe, that plane of dread was co-terminating with the world of Eberron. So like basically, demons on the street and stuff like that. And when shit like that happens, the only way to really stop it is to get the gatekeeper druids to shunt the planes, to make them change reality and nature to shift those planes away from each other. And it's normally a lot of devastation that goes along with it. So in my campaign world, when this nightmare scenario occurred, the solution that the druids came up with was, if we detonate the core of the planet, it'll shunt it aside. There won't be much left over, but it'll still be ours. And at least there won't be demons in our face to kill us. So they did it. So what's left of the world is a cluster of floating asteroids, and that's where all the different nations on Corvair and like where the different continents ended up on their own free floating asteroids. I have a map of it. I'll show you guys sometime. But my dream was, and assume we'll see how things go. But if I stick around the DMsGuild, I can then build a space opera, an Eberron space opera campaign toolkit. Like we got like giant carrier ships for the Cartography. They all have like giant skulls on the front of them because they're all necromancers and crap. So they got this big space necro theme going on, and the nation of Jeroam and their Medusa. They've got all the spider ships. It's a cool it's a fun campaign world, but my intention after I got the Eberron stuff done and the Spelljammer stuff and all the command system stuff done, to start using all that stuff in the Eberron space opera campaign. I'm not sure how that's all going to shake out currently, but that was my big dream for like my 2026 goal, was to build the Eberron space opera with all the mechanics that we built. So we'll see. We'll see where we'll see if the DMsGuild even exists in 2025, and they may be making some big decisions for me pretty quickly. But we'll see how things pan out. But there's a lot of stuff I want to do with all the different books that I've been building, to like build them all into like these alternate campaign options. Time check. I had an idea yesterday for like a mini adventure set in a super high in science fantasy, but the idea is that the timeline is ending and the clock is literally running out, kind of Dark Souls-esque. Yeah. Well, that's what my campaign is. So they have to find a way to stop the world from ending. And there is a way to stop it, but it's in the past, and they've only just started finding clues that they can move. Like their 17th level, they know they can anchor time, and that anchor will awaken them at a different time, not just a different place. If they build a very high-end, high difficulty time anchor, they can set when they wake up at that spot. So they're trying to figure out how to do that, and while they're doing it, they're now starting to investigate the ground zero, where the world gets destroyed. So they figure if they're there early enough and they're strong enough to suss out what the hell is going on, maybe they can stop it from happening. And by the time they figure out how to do that, they're 17th level now, and they're just starting to pick at the edges of it. By the time they actually figure out how to do it, they'll be level 20. And when they actually accomplish it, into the campaign. Easy peasy. So, but I didn't know, but again, I don't know which path, where they're going to go, what they're going to save at any time. So me as a DM, it's a high degree of improvisation that I've integrated, that I get to use because of how freeform the campaign is. It's a difficult campaign to convert into a published adventure because there's so many variables that you have to control. So the team kind of has to be on board with you. Like I don't think I would have been able to do the campaign if they hadn't specifically said, hey, we're brand new players, we really don't know what we're doing. Will you create our characters and level them up for us every level? Something like, you want me to level up your characters every level? They're like, yeah. Like, you want me to choose your feats, like your spell selection, yeah, all that. It's like, we don't have to think about it. We trust you. You're gonna be able to build something better than you're gonna. Anyway, so what I get to do now is like I had an underwater adventure, and the reward that they got when they leveled up is the priest, the druid got water breathing as a spell, and it's like a druid would normally be able to just choose water breathing as their spell at any time. It would have made the challenge trivial, but they said, we want you to choose our spells. So I put them all on learned spells, no prepared. So the spells they get are the spells they have are the spells they get, and they have to figure out everything in the adventure with those spells. And when they gain a level, I get to add spells, and the spell I add is often something that trivializes what they did previously. Like they had a big cliff issue for a while. So I gave them spider climb after they figured out how to get to the top of the cliff. I eventually gave them fly after they figured out how to get across this chasm. I kept adding things in. It's like, God, if we had this would have been so ridiculously easy. But that's the Metroid sort of gameplay mechanic. Like the theme of the campaign that we're trying to go with is we can stack on, and by controlling what spells the characters have available to them, is you can create these Metroid type scenarios. So, and as long as everyone has mana available to them and you can customize their spell list to feed whatever Metroid spell, like the Ranger, the Arcane Trickster, and the Druid all have specialized spell lists for them to be able to perform different roles in the party. So when they're all working together and they're planning things, they can all contribute different mana allotments. Like, I'm going to spend this many spell slots to do this thing and this thing and this thing, and you're going to use your spell pool to do this, this, and this. And the Arcane Trickster, you're going to maintain this, but then, you're a rogue, so you don't have a lot of mana to go for. So you do the skill monkey stuff, and we'll help you. Like, so they can sequence their stuff together to be able to get results. And I love that. I absolutely love that style of play. And I don't know necessarily yet how to. Like, I've been running the campaign for 4 years. I know it pretty much backwards and forwards. I could build it as an adventure, but I need to be able to learn how to express the whole thing. So if it doesn't run the way that I ran it, like when I built the adventure, I always knew they could go off in a different direction. I don't know where they're going to go. It's a sandbox. So I have to be able to build a sandbox with multiple timelines inside of it. And doing it is one thing. Explaining how to do it and how to prep all that stuff and provide you all the details is another. Whew. So it might be smart for me to build just a small one-shot adventure before building out into like a full campaign. But I'll figure it out. I originally thought it would just eventually be a 5e thing that I'd have a few years to work on and eventually figure out, but I don't know. We'll see where the future takes us now. That time travel campaign is pretty cool, man. But I really want to do that space opera with the floating, with the small, the smaller rocks, where like Thrain is on its own rock and Karnath is on its own rock, but they have airships, spelljammers. Minor helms, I would use minor helms. Well, they have the airships now that can, so we can modify the spelljamming helm so it doesn't have that 100 million miles per day option. You can slow it down so it's appropriate for the cluster, for the campaign you're actually playing. Just because Spelljammer offers a helm that flies 100 million miles per day doesn't mean I have to keep that speed for, like, the Dragonlance, for example, the Flying Citadel. It's obviously a very quote-unquote primitive form of a spelljamming helm because it can only do 10 miles per hour. So the new Spelljammer mechanics that we have, I had them at, I think it was 50 miles per hour, but with these new with the new mechanics we have for the combat and exploration book, I would put them at 100 miles. 100 miles per hour. Well, yeah, 50. Yeah, that's right. 50 miles per hour is 100 miles per 2 hours, which is 10 miles per 10 minutes, which is 1 mile per minute, which is 500 feet. Squares. Oh my God! I accidentally built it properly. I didn't even realize that. I was literally not thinking about the airships I've been using in my Eberron campaign, but it actually syncs up perfectly with a 500-foot square is the maximum speed that they can have for their movement. That's fucking ridiculous. Well, obviously I know what I'm doing, so praise the fates. And I think this room's looking pretty good. Well, the shelving isn't done, so this dais here, I can mess up this dais a bit. There's nothing harmful about these crystals unto themselves until you start mixing them with stuff and doing things with them. But by themselves, they aren't hostile, but they are the core. This is the core soil. Like this is the rocky substance that all the plant life, all the fauna of Mabar that we've developed grow from. It's the core element of the soil. It's like an evil carbon. So all the alternate like alien plants and stuff that we have for this adventure, they grow from the grit. Like when we have big piles of this stuff start to stack up, you can get like this is where you'll start seeing patches of Vulpina, for instance, that have like a stinking cloud effect that emanates from them that makes people nauseous when they get too close to them. Like we can have a Vulpina token that we can just scatter around on here. Because it's just like the little chip tokens that you just drop them in little 5-foot spaces, and there's like little icons like, ooh, that you can see the poisonous smoke effect that's coming off of those, but it's difficult to see it in the foggy effect. So anyway, yada 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 yada. It's all explained in the book. Love to do that space opera Eberron. It'll be very satisfying. So we'll see where fate takes us. I gotta say though, man, as a one-man shop that builds stuff, it's I'd say producing an adventure is I mean I've created subclass and character class character options, a ton of those, and I've created full mechanical systems for both DMs and players to use. I would say that creating an adventure is the most satisfying and overall representation, like is the best representation of an indie project inside of inside of an RPG. Like being able to take the game and express how to have fun with it is more than creating a new option for characters to play inside of those games. Like being able to actually produce adventures and scenarios, I think is probably the highest expression of game design. It forces you to think about every aspect of the game at the same time. Meanwhile, trying to explain how somebody else should explain something. You know, it's really a very meta concept. Like it almost has like its own self-awareness. You know, it's anyway, whatever. That feels right. I'm getting all snobby about it now that I can do it. But it's a discovery, you know? It's like, oh my god, this isn't, I've never, you know, this is the first, other than the Adventures in Chronomancy, this is the first. No, that's not true. Because I did they were all Inkwell Ideas recruited me back in, I want to say, 2011 to produce. There's Inkwell Ideas has a bunch of index card adventures where there's like a scenario and like 4 or 5 bullet points and then a simple map. And I got recruited to maybe create, I want to say I made 50 different, like 4 bullet point scenario nuggets, like encounter ideas. So that was technically my first adventure writing gig. And there was a bunch of like pirate themed stuff and urban themed stuff. It was just a bunch of, you know, fantasy setting. Something goes wrong, so give me a scenario that goes wrong and a couple of interesting bullet points about it as. And like who the NPC is, but no specific stats. Make it system neutral. So that's the actual first paid writing gig that I had, and that's on DTRPG still. Inkwell Ideas, they do cool stuff. They have those dungeon dice where you can throw them and then you put them all together and make a random dungeon. That's the same people. So yeah, that's that, and then the Chronomancy stuff. This is my first own well, I guess that Inkwell Ideas, I got a shitload of first ideas. But this is the first fleshed out, like, full adventure that I've produced on my own, out of my own ideas. I mean, I didn't do it alone. Obviously, Andy Headley is the Ode Gold. He's my companion and partner in the construction of the adventure, like helping with logic flow and, you know, who should this guy be and what's their motive and all that crap. Like, you know, co-authoring. We co-authored on that. And obviously Stuart Braz, our editor, is just a librarian for Eberron content. So he's like, I'd be done sooner, but I keep wanting to add stuff. I'm like, yeah, go for it, dude. Just make this the best it can be. So that's exciting. And he's done a number of adventures, so he's pretty good about framing, like parsing data. And apparently that's part of the editing process of him parsing out that data, which is amazing because he's pretty much going to hand it like, drop this into a book, do it this way. Like, oh my god, this is awesome. So that's all panning out really nicely. And we'll be doing a lot of page layouts for that in here because we get to, well, as much as I can anyway. We'll see if that's any fun, but we'll be breaking up the page with the descriptive text of each room, and then figuring out how to actually fit. Like if I'm going to be doing the in the book, for this crypt has different points inside of here. So like this would be like this alone, this space right here is all I would need to have. Like on a quarter page, that like maybe a third of the page, I have a 2-page spread, and I can have a third of it, and then the rest of that page just talk about the crypt itself, and then each bullet point we can zoom in on the bullet point, and like this would be one, like the front entrance up to here would be like one segment, and then we push over, and like this would be a snapshot, like here this would be a snapshot, or like the crypts. But like you have the full map here, like you have a one shot of it, and then we're zooming in on each point, and then like talking about that bullet point, that bullet point, that bullet point, that bullet point, and zooming in on each of them. So you have a closer frame of reference, but you already have the full map in your asset pack, the zip file that we provide with it. So you can peel this out and drop it into your table space or whatever. And we were clever to make sure that this would fit on its own separate page. So we can talk about like whatever is on a page is kind of like what we can talk about. We can break it up into those segments like that specifically if we wanted to. But that's part of the process we have to go through. Like, how do we want to break this up, and how much map do we want to, like, how much of each map section do we want to show? And since we have it segmented out like that, we have a lot of control over, like, you know, the overall map. We got 8 different data points that we feed into. So, like, when we're talking about point number 2, we're talking about these puddles. So we don't need to detail each puddle specifically, but this one is different. This gazebo's got a thing going on. Here's pit number 2. Here's number 2 up here as well. This is technically number 2 as well, so we need to drop a 2 over there. But number 2 is basically the sinkhole. You know, undead can rise up and attack you if you get too close to these sinkholes. It's also a monster spawn point. So if you're over here on the map and you got the fog that's limiting your vision to like 40 feet away from this gazebo is like over here. So I can have undead coming out of this bog and out of this bog and out of this bog at infinite. Like there's no limit to how, it's a monster generator. Until the team comes over here and locks down this puddle, that puddle is a threat. They have to basically like toss napalm in and catch it on fire to knock the thing out. Like come over here, napalm this, napalm this, napalm this, napalm this. Okay, this place is locked down. That's kind of the thought process that goes on behind that. What is it? 7 o'clock. Oh my god, it's only 7. That's awesome. So get the grid on. Let's get our dots out. We'll get rid of the grid for now. So we took care of. Oh wait. There's still some shelving. Yeah, we gotta finish our shelving down here. And then we'll move on to the gazebos. I find that I pantomime a lot with my hands when I get excited about what I'm talking about. And I'm always excited about these things. So I end up wagging my hands a lot and limiting how much art I can do. So I need to talk about stuff I'm less excited about. Amon Ra! This is a great song. You, curb your enthusiasm. Push more pixels. Yes, sir. corner. Right, the heart of evil. I think in Alara campaign, the MTG world of Alara is 5 separate realms that are basically like they have one primary color is like their dictating theme for their world, but they're all separated by the blind eternities, as it were. But you can traverse it, so I think that would also be a fun campaign to convert into a Spelljammer, where the different worlds have approach spelljamming in different ways, and we'll raid or attempt to trade with the different worlds. But like white kind of gets along with the world of green and the world of blue, but is always in conflict with the world of red and black. You know, you have that 5-star formation where everything's friendly or enemy. I'm going to merge clean up inside here. And I am cringing and while holding my breath about how Planescape is going to end up looking. I've been holding on to this 5e thing for years, waiting for Planescape to happen in 5e just to see how they do it, and I suspect it's going to be weak sauce. But that would be the last holdout campaign I was really expecting to see in 5e. They're squeezing it out there at the very last second when they have one D&D dropping. Like, hold on, we'll get this. No, wait, Spelljammer's Planescape's later in this year, I think. I don't remember. Maybe it is this year. Well, I'm excited regardless. Oh, man. Coffee time. Good. Look at that. Oh man, what a hot mess. That looks great. Zoom into where you need to be, and it's a little difficult to see the grid. Oh, it's because I don't have it. There you go. I was going to say, why am I having a hard time seeing that grid? There it is. But of course the VTT makes it really easy to see it, and you can adjust your color if you need to, but I myself don't have any problem with the grid. Oh. Okay, great. That guy's done. So let's go to the gazebo. Gazebo. These are all. I should probably put some sort of grittiness on top of the sarcophagi. I'm not there yet, though. I'm okay with I am okay for now with just doing the gazebos and the crypt because it needs to be done. Like that. Oops. I thought this was on a separate layer, but alas, earwax. Randomize that stuff out of the way a bit. And now we can add a new layer. Good. Here. Whew. Yeah, this this whole process of these crystals and how the shape of this brush fits together so well with it, you know, self-referencing itself, like interacting with its own shape to be able to create these patterns that's a really good case study in like how valuable it really is for you to develop your own brush sets, like not take brushes from other people, but to learn how to create your own. Because the aesthetics of like how I bend like this little thing that like this little chunk that's taken out here and this chunk that's taken out here. Look how well this crystal fits inside that space. Or look how well the crystal sits inside this space. Like my own internal sense of curve and like what I think is good geometry and the shapes that I like to build are self-replicating in my own system. Like the way that I build a brush is going to be similar to how I like to depict line art. So because the lines are being created by me and the brushes that I'm building are created by me, there's an internal cohesion that goes along with them, that they just kind of fit together. So if you're taking brushes from other people, you're trying to integrate somebody else's style through their brushes. They're kind of low-key controlling how you produce art because they're dictating the tools that you're using to create art. You know, like if you aren't creating your own tools, you're only going to be able to hammer a certain way. You know, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's just something interesting that I saw that I've been observing lately. Like how much the tools you use dictate the kind of things that you can build, and I think that's a fun observation. So I thought I'd share that there for you guys. Cheers. Let bacon be your ally. Hey, comment. Admittedly, I have yet to make any custom brushes. I've been meaning to, but I could never figure out what I wanted to do with them. They have to have a purpose. You don't just make a custom brush to have one. Okay, you are not ready for custom brushes until you know how to do everything you want to do with a simple round brush, right? If you can't do what you want to do with a simple round brush, why would you bother to need having a custom brush? Let's shut up and make a point out of it. Here's our grid. So if I can come through here and I can make these little gritty patterns like this. Now do that a billion times, or however many pixels are on this stupid map. Looks kind of the same in the end, but I build this so I could pixel I could stipple myself to death with what, 4 pixel circles, right? Maybe I'll add some variety, like occasionally make a bigger circle, but now I've got all these little circles that are going on, right? So what do I want to do? I want to keep myself from wanting to shoot myself in the face for having a billion pixels to tap onto this screen. So I need to create a brush that's going to help collapse the time frame of stippling. So I create a brush that I can sensibly have fit inside of a 40, 50, like over here I've got like 70, 80, 90. Yeah, I've got various brush sizes I can use with this to compile over each other, but then I have the problem of this recurring pattern is too obvious. So now I need to erase some of it and then tap it back in. But that covered 10 times the area in it's like 100 times more efficient than that 4 pixel stippling effect that I was doing. I don't need this brush until I ask, how can I make this stippling easier but still look good? And that's where this crystal pattern comes from. I just happen to have this fractal pattern already because I was experimenting with fractals because of the Bob Ross painting that I do. To be able to duplicate his effect, you have to have a pattern, like a good simulator for like leaves and stuff like that. It's been a long time since I've done an actual Bob Ross painting. I should probably do one just so people can see what it's like. But it's the need to create a controlled, randomized pattern for foliage, grass, snowfall. That's where all my brushes came from. How can I duplicate the tapping effect that Bob has on a canvas when he's creating a shrub, for instance? So that's where my tools came from. That's what started me on creating custom brushes. And now, and like I've got my chisel that I use for rock surfaces and stuff like all that stuff came from Bob Ross paintings. It's just they keep adding value to my workflow process, so I keep finding reasons to use them in more and more applications. So there's literally no reason to have a custom brush unless you know why you're making that brush. It has to have a purpose. And then once you build it, you have a hammer. So like, how many nails do we have? Like, how else can I use this custom brush that I built? What's its limits? What's its uses? So this crystal brush that we're doing, it was originally I originally built it for quick, easy shrubbery effects, like as background filler. But I'm like, well, I got this crystal thing I need to do. Do I have any interesting crystal patterns? Oh yeah, I can use this brush. I can repurpose this brush with a different narrative to make it useful. To make it useful. There we go. And then, well, let's scum up this corner over here a little bit. Well, that's an interesting way to resolve that. I like that. I like this framing effect. I hadn't thought about that, but it's a great. It seems like a pretty easy way for me to distinguish stairways by, you know, clearing crystals from the edges like that. I hear you. I hear you. Thank you, Timely Timer. Still have a half hour, 20 minutes. I still have 20 minutes. This is my last 20-minute burst. That actually reads pretty well. I'm into that. Cool. So what is that? 9 pixels. Okay. In therapy, they call this setting boundaries. That is doing a pretty damn good job defining I'm happy with that. Good decision. What a wonderful discovery. Good decision. Nice job, Kearney. Nice find. That's wow. I'm really, really happy. I'm overly pleased with myself. I'm breaking my arm, patting myself on the back on this one, but it certainly resolves the language. So, fucking cheers, man. We're discovering stuff here today, folks. Good days. Good days to us. Nine's a good pixel size. 9 and 10 in particular are good pixel sizes for me because the change in 2 digits makes it easy for me to see with my poor vision. Up here on the top rail here where the tool is at, I can see that's 10, that's 9, and therefore that's 8, that's 7. I can distinguish the shapes a lot easier that way if I use 10 as my base reference, because the difference from 1 to 2 digits in the number goes a long way for me telling what it is exactly we got going on. Got going on here. There, now that should be pretty easy to tell. Stepping stuff going on there. Is there any other stepping stuff that I need to work? No, there's nothing else like that I need to worry about on the map. That is freaking beautiful. Just on the gazebos, which we are currently resolving. So, God, how sick is that? But there are all the other maps. Map 4 and map 3 will need to. We'll have to sweep through and fix those stairs as well. But that'll be a fun little side project we can do. So, hey man. Oh, I am thoroughly pleased with myself, if you can tell. So, and that should be able to help us create the lid language there for us to be able to, yeah. Wow, man, that's cool. All right, done breaking my own. Alright. Sorry, I had to double check my shit. And we're back. Alright. So let's see. We got that resolved. Oh, let's just go down here and resolve this guy really quickly. Because we are short on time. We're high in spirits. Oh wait, I should do this differently. I should start the same way that I started the other one. Now that I have my final solution. World of illusions. I'll probably just finish this on my own. We'll let the time tap out and then we'll go build our go have a day, and then we'll be back tomorrow morning. So I think I honestly don't. I think we're doing. Are we? What are we doing tomorrow morning? I want to say we're going to do more Eberron tomorrow morning, but the fates may have me thinking about Spelljammer instead. I'm currently. Yeah, I think I'm going to be doing this, and then we'll have Monday and Thursday night for ship tokens. So I definitely want to invest. Yeah. Like, what the deuce? There. Back on track. Good. Good. We're coming along left. Nice. God, I love how it looks. Freaking cool. Okay, those are done. Those are done. Ow, merge down. All right, let's do this guy. Almost out of time. 2 minutes left on the block. Boy, oh boy, this has been a really super productive day. It's the discovery of just that one little piece about how to distinguish elevation. That's just pure gold for me. So super worthwhile session. We're going to be dropping out here in just a couple seconds. Well, in a minute or two, I suppose. But so that's it for my stream for the day. I will be back Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, in about 25 hours. Start at a little later on Saturdays than I do regular days, so I have the option to sleep in if I want. What is going on with that? I gotta... What, for reals? Okay. Admittedly, I feel there's an embankment issue I'm having. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, that's what it is. Thank you. Huh, okay. I hear you, baby. I hear you. I got just a few more moments, so I'm going to take it. Tap at this stuff. Just fill this in real quick, just to get it done. With the rim, and then we'll be done for the day. Curse my completionism. All right, well, hey, that's it for the day. So, like I was saying, thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, be welcome to leave comments, ask any questions. I'm happy to talk. I check my comments before I go on stream to see if there's any talking points, and there were none from yesterday. So, if anyone has any questions or anything, hit me on Twitter. Drop a comment below if you want. If you know where I'm at on Discord, give me a shout out. You're welcome to do so. And I will be back in 25 hours. So I'll see you guys then. And we'll see. We'll probably do more of this. I'm not exactly 100% sure what we'll do tomorrow, but it'll be fun. So we'll do it. And later.